Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 1 of It's All Geek to Me, where three friends get together each week to have a chat about all things geek. Their knowledge is varying and their interest is too. My name is Rich Gittins. Please welcome my co-host, Mr. Chris Lumb.
Hello.
Hello, Lummy. There he is. How you doing, mate? You okay?
I'm all right, thank you. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. And we've got another mate, and it's our other co-host. It's Mr. Nathan Webb. Hello, Webby.
Oh, hi, guys.
Oh, how you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm all right, yeah.
Now,
okay.
I should really point out that Chris Lumb is an impressionist. You may have seen him on the Russell Howard show doing impressions, and he's also a comedian. And Nathan is a singer-songwriter and an apprentice Lego master. They've got some fantastic Lego behind you there, Webby.
Thanks, man.
What
I'm an amateur, I'm afraid.
Let's show us. Show us what you got.
Well, I've got a bit of Star Wars Lego. I've got a Mandalorian one. I don't know if you can see that.
Nice.
That's what is it? One of them guys. Scout Walker. ATST, I believe.
Topical.
Moves its head. Oh.
What are you looking at? Who's going on? Hey. Oh. Hey.
Yeah, there's that one. BB-8. We got a bit of BB-8. I just thought I'd put some geekery out to represent. This is the living room, so it's currently all Christmassified. It's not actually the designated like man cave or anything, but hey, you get what you pay for.
Well, why not get the Lego out? I mean, it is a time for us to celebrate all things geekery. And Chris, that's a fancy hat you've got there, Mr. Indiana Lumb. How you doing?
Yeah, it's my Indiana Jones. I put it on because my hair's terrible. Always.
Well,
Any chance I get to disguise it,
I'm gonna have to show them. I didn't have an hat.
Yeah, you got to show the hair. It's good. Come on.
Get it over and done with. Look at that.
It's massive, isn't it?
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a Hasselhoff head of hair.
It is.
Audience, you probably don't know this about our friend Lummy, but you see that 5 o'clock shadow he's got. When we started this 3 minutes ago, we were clean shaven. The guy can burst a beard out of nowhere. I saw him the other day on the FaceTime, and his hair was short. Just grows like wildfire.
It does grow, yeah. It's like Homer Simpson, when he has a shave and it comes straight back.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's a curse, though. It's a curse.
I know.
It occurred to me the other day, gents. It's kind of I think it's actually perfect timing that we decided to do this show now, because we've known each other for 25 years this year. What better way to celebrate 25 years of friendship than to fall out online in front of lots of strangers?
You're right. You're
argue over Star Wars.
Are we allowed to swear on this show? We haven't got the ground rules down. I don't know.
I think we should point out that we will be reviewing the latest episode of Mandalorian later on, and there will be spoilers, but we will give you plenty of notice when that segment comes up. But I think we can have a little
It's for adults, isn't it?
A little titty bollocks, can't we?
Why don't everybody go around, and everybody pick a swear word? Let's just get it over. Pick your best swear.
Lummy, what's your best swear word, Lummy?
Oh, it's got Shazbot.
Shazbot is your favourite swear word?
Like mock from Orc,
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Shazbot. You live in a PG household.
I do. No, I mean, shitbag. I don't know. No, look.
All right.
No, it's got to be the F word for me. I say it quite a lot. I shouldn't really, but yeah. Fuck it.
Which one?
There you go.
Yeah, oh, look at that. You man. You're a man, Lummy. And what about you, Webby? What is your favourite swear word? What swear word are you going to use tonight?
I'm going to say it's Christmas. I'm going to say jingle balls.
Jingle balls. Nice one. I don't know why, but nincompoop came to mind, but it's the least.
Steady on.
Whoa. Steady on, lad.
Jeez. Oh, no. That's it. I didn't know there was language like that. Let's forget it.
Oh,
I just realised
shitty balls. There you are, shitty balls.
I just realised Nate's got a similar top on me. We didn't plan that.
No, we didn't. We went for geek t-shirts. So I mean, maybe we should. Yours spells it out on the tin, Lummy, what that is. But what's yours? Gittins, what you got on there? See if anybody can guess what they're from by the end.
I mean, mine's pretty obvious at me. There we go.
Hawkins High School, 1983. Anybody out there got an answer? What's that?
I wonder what that could be. And what
you might know this one. I've got. Can you see it? Abe Froman's Sausage King of Chicago. That's mine. Any ideas out there, guys? Comment, and we might read it out.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We will be having the comments open for the show tonight. Oh, God bless us. So please feel free to comment, get involved in the show. It's an open discussion. It's as much for you as it is for us. Now, we're going to be getting on to the next segment, and we are going to be talking about our geek news. What's in geek news this week? Nathan, what have you seen?
Heck, there's so much, man. I don't know if anybody noticed, but Disney kind of did a big thing this week for the investors where they announced that everything to do with all the stuff you loved as a kid is now going to be a TV show for your convenience. As long as you pay your $6.99, $5.99 a month or whatever it is for Disney, you'll be able to watch in the future such delights as Obi-Wan with famous acting guy Ewan McGregor. You might recognise him from such films as Down with Love, classic.
The
He likes riding motorbikes. He played a Star Wars once. It wasn't the best Star Wars.
Let me just look. We got a comment. Stranger Things. Rob Popple wins that.
Yeah, t-shirt. Take it off and get it in the post.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Sorry.
So yeah, but they've also announced. What else did they announce? They've announced Rogue Squadron.
Do you want me to? I've got the pictures here. Should we go through them? Do you want to go through them?
Bring them up to me.
Right, here we go.
Oh yeah, there we go.
First of all, there we go. Ahsoka.
So just for those of you that have missed it, that is a character that people have been dying to see on the screen for quite some time because she was in the cartoons, the Clone Wars cartoons and Rebel, all those cartoons. I haven't seen any of the cartoons. Some geek, but I haven't seen them all. But it's a character that has been people have been wanting to see on the big screen for some time. And spoiler is where the spoilers are going to kick in. That she turns up in this series of Mando, played by the lovely Rosario Dawson, who you couldn't really cast her much better. That was the face they wanted before they'd even cast it, really, you know. So a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that, I'm sure, myself included, because I thought the character was great, even though I haven't got much of a history with it or a background. Didn't know much about her. But yeah, I'm into that one. Go for that.
Have you seen Rosario Dawson in a film called Zookeeper with Kevin James?
I've never seen Zookeeper, no.
No, it's one of those ones that pops up, but I've just never given it.
It's good. Don't let it put you off. Just the idea of it's good. But
I'm just trying to gauge how serious you are about that before. It's really good.
No, I watched it and I went, come on, Kevin James, Zookeeper, Rosario Dawson, come on. Then I watched it all like, that was amazing.
Magical.
Wow. It's a kids movie, but it was good. But do you want to? I've got a little bit of an insider thing for you. The Ahsoka thing. If you look at that, do you see that blue circle around it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they call the Veil of the Force, I believe, right? And it's in one of the cartoons, and it allows them to skip dimensions and time and space, like Marvel, which means
so
they can have different timelines.
So yeah, they're gonna go for some multiverse type stuff, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's rumors.
Sorry, go on.
They're gonna get rid of the other trilogy. There's rumors going around that they're gonna kind of say that trilogy didn't really work. And
Which
if you notice, the latest 3 films that they did, 7, 8, and 9,
Skywalker ones.
Yeah.
The latest.
And if you notice, all the new things, all the new shows have got nothing to do with any of the characters from the new films. None of them.
Oh, okay. You say that, but there was one film that came out a couple of years ago that is a side story for Star Wars, as you probably all know, the Rogue One, which one of the characters from that has been greenlit with a show. I think have they filmed it yet, Lummy, or are they working on it? There you go.
They're working on it now. Andor, there you go.
It's all about Cassian Andor, so that one's supposed to be set around the same time as Rogue One, which would make it around the same time as Star Wars: A New Hope, I believe. So yeah, lots of potential for crossover characters popping in, all your favorites. Basically, Disney are just going to keep throwing shit at you until you can't stand it anymore. And I think a lot of it is to make up for some of the lesser things they've done in the past few years that people weren't quite happy about. I mean, clearly, I know we're going to get onto this, but clearly, Jon Favreau, is knocking out of the park at the minute with the Mando. Everybody's loving it. It's got something for everyone in there, personally speaking. I'm really enjoying that. So, yeah, I mean, I have to say, me and Chris and Gittins, we've all at some point in our lives said, "Oh, that's enough with the Star." Even us, we're a bit beleaguered with it, but we still watch it. We still put it on just in case it's good, and when it actually is,
yeah, it's good. Do you want me to throw up the rest of these titles and briefly?
How many other shows are they? How many shows are they putting out altogether?
7. So there we go. Lando, that's coming.
Lando the Mando.
There's not much about that. We don't know if it's young Lando. I assume it is, or older Lando, Billy D. Williams. But
I mean, particularly, I think I'm kind of worried about the fact that Donald Glover played him in the Solo movie. So if they're setting it when it's his age, I mean, they might struggle to get that guy. He's quite famous and quite rich and quite busy. So.
I loved him. He was
great. Yeah, he was great. Yeah, but I mean, this goes back to when I was a kid. When the original first Star Wars movies came out, there used to be a series of books about Han Solo and Chewbacca going around the galaxy on adventures, like one-off sort of spin-off cowboy type stories. And I think that's what they're going to work with Lando as well, because he's got his own set of stories as well. So,
well, the Lando novels, weren't they, as well as the Solo ones? There were 3 of them. I think there were 3 of each thing.
Yeah. So we'll probably get some old stories, bits from the comic books thrown in there, storylines, and could be quite interesting.
I'm not a massive Star Wars fan myself, but
Me neither.
So that's Lando, which obviously, I mean, to be honest, a part of me is a bit like, really? I mean, I wasn't expecting them to say they were going to release 10 new shows, 10 new Star Wars shows. Like, are you sure that's enough? You know what I mean?
Why not 20?
Do we know if there's going to be any brand new material in any of the shows in terms of are they going to be looking at any characters that haven't been looked at before, or are they going to be all based on things like the Clone Wars and Rebel and all that sort of stuff?
Yes and no, I believe. I mean, I think a lot of it is tied at some point. I think it seems like a huge push by Jon Favreau and a guy called Dave Filoni, who's been writing and heavily involved with Star Wars for quite some time.
Yeah,
it's a massive push for them to try and bring the world that they created or people created in the Clone Wars cartoons, is to link it all together and make it officially part of the Star Wars canon. So that's why obviously in this series of Mando, we've seen quite a few people popping up from the cartoons. I saw them in the cartoons, so it's all new to me, but I'm enjoying it.
And indeed, actually, we're going to talk about it later on, so no spoilers right now, but we saw something kind of confirmed in the latest episode that people have been asking about for quite a while. So stay tuned for our Mandalorian review. What other shows are going to be coming up in the Star Wars Disney
right. So we've
series?
got, I mean, speaking of the Mandalorian, this Rangers of the New Republic, that's going to be about Cara Dune, the character from Mandalorian.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why, she got that badge. No spoilers there about the New Republic.
She's the sheriff.
Yeah. So
okay.
About that. We've got others. You mentioned Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's the logo there. Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen, who played Darth Vader in the prequel trilogy. Guy gets another shot after so many years of being ignored. I think they were quite harsh to that guy.
Well, apparently, he filmed some stuff for episode 9. They cut it all out, but we don't know until.
I heard the rumors he was supposed to come back as a Force ghost, and
What else we got? We got Rogue Squadron. So this is a movie. This.
It's by the woman who directed Wonder Woman, right?
Woman. Yeah, Wonder Woman. Yeah. So there's there were a little teaser trailer for that. I didn't show any footage, just talking about the movie. But so Rogue Squadron, obviously, there were loads of novels to do with Rogue Squadron, comic books as well, Dark Horse comics and all that back in the day. So hopefully they might take some of that, or it'd be good anyway. That I'm sure.
Is it going to be a cinema release, or is it just going to be Disney Channel? Do you know?
I think it's cinema. I think everything else is
purely Disney.
Yeah. Hard to say at the minute with the cinemas being shut down and not, nobody knows quite when they're reopening. But it's having a strange impact in the world around us.
Yeah. The other I'm just looking at what else. So there's one called Star Wars Visions as well. That's manga animation, I think.
Okay.
So, and again, they did some comic books, manga, Star Wars, that retold the classic trilogy in manga style. So I don't know whether it's based on that or just other stories as well. Some of this stuff I ain't got much information on the internet. I had a quick look around, but some of it's a bit lucky. Apparently, they showed some footage from the Obi-Wan thing at the investor meeting, but you can only see that obviously if you invest in Disney.
Oh, okay.
So we can't see that.
I had a feeling they were filming it.
Luckily, I sneaked in that video. It's here. No, I don't got it.
I had a feeling they were sneaking. They were already filming bits of that, just from what I read recently about Ewan McGregor being all over the place in meetings. Wink, wink.
And a big announcement is this.
Oh yeah, there's people looking forward to that one.
Yeah, Willow's all right, isn't it?
You think they're going to get Warwick Davis in it?
He's back.
Is he back?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, he's back.
Do you want to tell people at home what Willow is? Because I know a lot of people don't know massive amounts about it, but you being a massive George Lucas nut, Lummy, you might be able to.
I don't know too much about Willow. It's about a guy
George
called Willow.
Lucas movie, isn't it?
He gets basically a baby turns up to his village. Eleanor Duran, is it?
Strange name.
I watched it for ages. But anyway, baby gets washed up and he gets quest to take the baby to the humans, I guess.
Okay.
You put me on the spot with this. I didn't know we were going
to. Hey, Lummy, this thing I have absolutely no knowledge of whatsoever. Why don't you tell people all about it?
I honestly thought you were a fan of the movie because you brought it up.
Massive. No, I just thought figured up because they were in the news. The Val Kilmer's in it, plays Mad Madigan. I remember that.
Yeah.
And he swings his sword about and has a character moment.
I get those two films. I get that film mixed up with Princess Bride. It's got a very similar feel to me, even though they're completely different. But I know it was George Lucas had big hopes at the time that it was going to be, it was going to take off, and it didn't do very well. And you know, there were
some novels. They wrote some sequel novels to Willow. Actually, they came out, and I think people bought them. So
I'm sure there's some fans out there.
I'm amazed there were no Indiana Jones announcements.
There has been, but it wasn't on that. It wasn't on that thing. I read something today on this thing called the internet. I just discovered it, man. Like, there's all sorts of things on there. But yeah, no, I read that they are planning to release it in 2022.
Right.
It's sort of been slated for being filmed. The fifth Indiana Jones movie. Harrison Ford's attached to it, and James Mangold, who was the director of Logan, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He's quite a good director actually. I can't remember exactly what it's done. Let me have a little Google. This is the beauty of technology. You can right here and just have a little Google while you.
I thought they'd do an animated series by now of Indiana Jones. I mean, they own it, so why not?
I'd like to see another Indiana Jones Chronicles. I just think I used to love the Indiana Jones Chronicles. It was
good show.
Yeah, it was great. Underrated.
I'd rather never see Indiana Jones again than see a subpar Indiana Jones. Do you know what I mean? If you're not going to make it really, really good, then don't waste my time. Because
when Crystal Skull came out, I was working at the cinema, obviously projectionist, and I put the staff screening on for everybody, and I put it on, and I swear everybody sat there going, "What is this?" It was so weird. It was just like we couldn't believe it was an Indiana Jones film. It was so strange, and
I first watched Crystal Skull. Sorry for interrupting. I first watched Crystal Skull on a really dodgy copy, and it was horrendous. It was absolutely pap. But then I watched it about 3 years later on a decent copy, and actually having such a low opinion of it the first time round, it wasn't that bad the second time round. Of course, there are bits in it that you're like, what the fuck? But genuinely, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was the first time.
I tried it. I tried to watch it again, like you, with a bit of optimism, with a fresh pair of eyes. And honestly, it's not for me. I'm going to be nice. I could rip it to bits. Literally, for me, every couple of minutes, there's a stupid, ridiculous scene in it, but that just doesn't fit. And but. It is what it is. If you like it, you like it. I just wish it was more up to scratch with the other ones, personally.
But that's why I'd like them to bring in Indiana Jones Chronicles, because obviously you're not going to get anybody who's going to be as good as Harrison Ford in that role. So you may as well just take it to younger Indiana Jones. And
Well, allegedly, that's what Lando's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be that sort of that feel. That's what I read today. They actually name checked Young Indiana Jones Chronicles and said that that's what they're going for. So,
right.
What's its space?
So what else are Disney Plus churning out? Is that it?
I think that's about it, really. I think we've been.
Sorry, it is.
I think we've been through it.
Is it bollock? Oh, sorry. No, it is. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's it. I think that's all we've got. Oh, we got Clone Wars: The Bad Batch. Well, after the Clone Wars, that's cartoon animated series about the First Order, not First Order. What do you call them? Clone Trooper things. I don't.
Yeah. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. So there's that, and I think that's it, really.
And any other news from the world of geek? Anyone else got anything?
Tons of it, but I think we should get on to Marvel next week or something.
Yeah, there's been a lot of news from
so you know why they did the same thing with Marvel that they did with Star Wars and announced 10 TV shows. 10 of them. So all the characters that you don't give a crap about in the films, who don't get much screen time, are now going to have 10 episodes each for you to troll through, allegedly.
And we've also got on Tuesday 2 big gaming updates. You've got the new update for GTA for the island, and that's going to come out. So it'll be interesting to see. I've had to delete loads of stuff off my hard drive to create like 80 gigs worth of space to be able to deal with that update. It's brilliant. And also on the same day, Fallout 76 are doing another update. They're going into the next season. So the new scoreboard is going to be up, and there's going to be an increase in stash box weight, Webby. I know that'll interest you. So going from £800, I'm assuming they're pounds that we're dealing in Fallout 76.
We've got a message here. We've got a message on the chat. Our old friend Rob Girdler. Hello, Rob.
Girdler. Hey,
Indies like Star Wars. There are and only ever will be 3 films.
Controversial. You know what? I happen to agree. I mean,
I can get on board with.
I agree. I do. It's not so much that I'm so old that I can't get over the trilogy. It's just that the first trilogy for me is the better trilogy. I think it's better filmed. The effects, even though they're not amazing, they're just great for what they are. So, we'll see.
How much does nostalgia play into that, though, do you think? Because, absolutely. But for me, like everything when I was a kid was just amazing and full of magic and wonderment. And obviously, to be older, a bit more cynical.
If it wasn't for nostalgia, we wouldn't be having this podcast. We wouldn't be watching any of this shit, because that's why they've done it. It's to build on that nostalgia dollar, knowing that we're going to take our kids. Some of us are going to take our grandkids, because some of us have got grandkids now, man, So it's all about nostalgia. It's all about playing. Well, I didn't want to say anything. People I know, when I was a kid, for example, my dad is dead now, but he's got grandkids. He doesn't know about them, but he's got them. But we went to see Star Wars, right? So what I'm saying is that person, if you went with your parents to see it, they've got grandkids, some of them. So, it's just been around so long. But it definitely does. I mean, it's billions and billions of dollars of toys and bed sheets and T-shirts and everything, I think the biggest thing that's changed things is the realization for Disney that they can make a lot of money from having a streaming service. Something that, to my mind, they've never showed an interest in. For years and years, they've kept everything locked down, haven't they?
It's because of the way things are, though, isn't it, with the world? We're all in a pandemic. They've had to go online, so they've had to figure out a new way. I mean, Disney Plus obviously came out before that anyway, but I bet they obviously weren't going to churn everything out on there. I bet half of those Star Wars projects were going to be movies before they went, we better think about this.
Definitely, yeah. But in a way, I think it's good to break that mold, because that's what people, believe it or not, all these people who've been saying for ages, when's the next Star Wars out? So what they did a couple of years ago is they started releasing one every Christmas, and then even the fans were sick of them. Yeah. So I don't think they found that balance. I'm not sure what the problem was managerially, up the ladder, and why they just played it like that. But that's what they did. They overkilled it, and it seems to me like they weren't paying attention on to the things that the fans wanted. I mean, if we know anything about Star Wars fans is that you can't please them anyway. It
No.
doesn't matter. You're always going to lose.
I still find the
Yeah,
oddest choice I find when they redid these films was in episode 7, they didn't have a Han, Luke, and Leia reunion in it. It just baffles me still.
Just for the fans.
Yeah, you had it. Well, even for the story, you think, why not start it with them? Even if they're together and then they get killed off in first film, so be it. At least you've done that thing that everybody's been waiting for. That, to me, I mean, you know, I didn't mind Force Awakens. I'm not saying it was terrible, but I just don't know why they didn't do that. You know, you had them all there. They were all there for the script reading where Mark Hamill just read the stage directions.
But I think they failed in that they didn't get to go around every single Star Wars fan in the world and say, what do you think? What do you think about this? You know, they had to do something, didn't they? Shit,
I mean, that to me is a no-brainer, though. Everybody has been waiting to see those three back together. That's it. And then, I mean, and then you've got the other factor, which is, you know, R2-D2 and C-3PO. You've got me started on this now. They're supposed to be the storytellers. George Lucas said that originally, didn't he? They're the storytellers of the entire thing.
It's told through their eyes,
Yeah, and then
they're the linchpin, aren't they? Because they carry the story through every movie.
You've got BB-8 at the start of the number 7, which I thought was a good droid and everything. It was quite cool. But why couldn't that just been R2-D2? Could have easily. You know, and you've still got that narrative. Yeah. It wouldn't have made any difference, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just such a big can of worms. At least they tried. At least they tried something. Personally, I didn't think they rounded off the new trilogy in the right way. But every film has got really, really excellent points and really excellent bits of it, and then some really dodgy bits. A lot of people hate The Last Jedi. I thought it was cool.
I liked it.
You know, I mean, it is pretty holy, you know, it's got some plot holes in it and stuff and some weird things going on, but it had balls. It really did to subvert your expectations. After watching The Force Awakens, you go into the second movie thinking, right, this is what's going to happen. And the director of it decided, no, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm going to play it a bit different. And for some reason, he managed to Jedi mind trick the producers. And they went, yeah, great idea. And then they bottled it at the last minute. And when the third movie came out, all that story setting up that he did in the second movie got thrown out of the window, and they just let JJ come back in, JJ Abrams come back in and do what he does.
Well,
so
I mean, the biggest mistake was they didn't plan it out. They didn't know what they were doing. You know, and from a company who owns, you know, does all the Marvel movies and there's some meticulously planned, you think, why didn't you have a roadmap for this stuff? The whole idea of number 7 was they were trying to find Luke Skywalker, and they've got a map to him, and then she gets there and he goes, no, I don't want lightsaber. I didn't want to be found. You're like, well, then why the hell did you in that last movie have a map to find you? And that was a whole plot.
Idiot. Just don't tell anybody where you are.
Yeah, it didn't work. It didn't make sense. But anyway,
do we know whether the scripts for all those films were written in advance of the first film being written, being filmed, or were they written as they went along? And that is,
was it Ryan Johnson who got to do the second one? Yeah, he got to write his own script, and when he took it to them, this is how I imagine it anyway. He took it and he said, right, there's your script. And they went, whoa, this is a bit crazy. This is a bit different. Well, I don't know if they're going to buy that. And then one guy in the corner went, hang on a minute. Maybe he's onto something. And they just give him several $1 million and just said, crack on, you know. But the third one, they got another director in, Colin Trevorrow, the guy who directed Jurassic World. And they tried the same thing, but they bottled it halfway through when the guy was filming the film, and he'd already got like people in for characters that aren't even in the movie because they all got cut from the story, full script. It was a bit different, a bit ballsy. You can find the script for that original premise for Rise of the Skywalker online. And I aren't saying it's great or anything, but it's very, very different. It's totally different to what we got. It's totally different to what you expected. And Rise of the Skywalker wasn't, it didn't really end up being that way, because they did something really unusual when they released the trailer for Rise of the Skywalker. They gave a massive spoiler away in the trailer. Right at the end of the trailer, as it fades out, you hear the Emperor laugh. And you're like, oh my God. And then all the Star Wars fans in the world, all of them, start postulating about what's coming and why is Palpatine in it? And by the time the film comes out, they've figured out what's going to happen. and they were right just from hearing that laugh. And that is some.
Yeah, they had to get the audience back after Last Jedi, though. That's why they did it, innit? And originally, apparently, again, this is all speculation, what you read on, internet. But there was supposed Matt Smith from Doctor Who. He was supposed to be the main villain, and they filmed all this stuff. Then chickened out and cut it all.
Matt Smith, if you're watching, just tell us just give us a comment. Tell us what happened, Matt Smith.
There's going to be an NDA there, isn't there? There's going to be so many.
They've locked that down. He can't do anything.
So
we've got a challenger, Webb. It's in the trailer. Spoiler.
Oh, let me guess who that is.
Hey up, Dan. How you doing?
Yeah.
Show your face, Dan. Don't be using a profile picture like that. You coward.
Better than that.
You're looking good, Dan. You're looking good. Before we move on to the next section, I just want to say the reason that they didn't use R2D2 and they had BB-8, I'm pretty certain, is merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
An
extra toy.
Exactly, yeah. Because you're still going to have a new R2D2 that people are going to buy.
Yeah, and then in the last movie, you get another new droid, don't you? In the last one.
Yeah, you get that vacuum cleaner droid that went off the shelves.
You always know when a figure's unpopular. Coming from the point of view of a Lego Star Wars guy, you always know when a character is unpopular. They did they've done BB-8, a little robot Lego version, right? Like that. And it's got like bits in it, moves its head and all sorts, right? Relatively popular figure, BB-8. They did the same one for that new robot in Rise of the Skywalker. They've done a limited edition, special edition Star Wars. What's he called? Dio or something like that. Anyway, and it's like Lego never goes in the sale really. It never drops more than like a tenner off its price, no matter what. But you can pick up that one that nobody gives a shit about from the last Star Wars movie for some. Nobody cares, so you always know that it's just that it is a cash-in thing.
Yeah, which is fair enough, but it is what it is, isn't it? I guess business. That's business. That's show business.
Right, we should move on to our next topic, and we will be discussing season 2, episode 7 of The Mandalorian, The Believer. So, again, I will say there are spoilers in this section, so please feel free to turn us off and come back in about 15 or 20 minutes. But we are going to be talking in detail about this episode of The Mandalorian. So, gents, what do you reckon about The Mandalorian this week? What do you think?
Boom, boom, boom.
Well, Webb, do you want to give us a bit of a plot summary or what? Or do you want
to? I can't shut up since we started. Shall I give somebody else? You go, Lumb. You go.
All right. So stop me if I get anything wrong. I'm just looking.
I'm just going to stop you there. I'm just going to stop you.
Such a twat.
So it starts off. We've got a junkyard, haven't we? Here we go. I've got some pictures.
Lovely junkyard.
You've got your man. Mayfield is working at the junkyard. This droid comes up. Pretty cool.
Played by Bill Burr.
Yeah.
What,
now,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, Bill Burr. Yeah.
Spoiler.
What do we think of Boba Fett's clean armor?
That was cool, man.
You know what? I wanted a deleted scene where he's painting it.
Yeah, I just thought he's obviously so chuffed to get his armor back after all these years. The first thing he did was sat down and polished it all up. I think it's cool.
He's got have you seen he's got like this scarf on as well, if you look at the
and he's got a couple of new motifs. I don't know if you could tell. On the side is I can't remember the name of the species. On his arm, he's got a species that's always been there, but he's got a new one. And the new sigil, I can't remember what it means. Oh, this is going really well.
Chris, can you bring that picture up? It's actually on there. Chris, can you bring that picture up again? Because it actually looks like it's on there. It looks like a burger.
Yeah, that symbol though is a symbol. I can't remember what it's to do with. It's something to do with.
Is it a planet?
Go Google it, guys. It's really interesting. So much so you'll read it and just instantly forget what the hell you want. But yeah,
Google it and comment and let us know.
Yeah.
Tell us what it is. Yeah.
So he's got his nice shiny armor. So yeah.
Right, keep talking. I'll put the images up. Keep going then.
So what we see Bill Burr's character in the sort of the planetary penitentiary sort of thing, where he's doing hard labor, and they come and break him out. What do we think of the breakout in this episode?
Pretty simple.
Yeah, it wasn't really much.
I think that's one of the perks of being mates with somebody who's just been promoted to like sheriff.
She did make it sound like it were going to be a right task though in the previous episode. She's like, I don't know if I can do that. You know, come on, guys.
What we actually should appreciate is they saved us the scenes where she's doing boatloads of paperwork, just trying to get this guy out.
Yeah.
Oh,
come on.
CPS reports.
False witness statements.
Jesus, sign this for us, Mando.
So yeah, they come to get Bill Burr back because just if you cast your mind back to season 1, around about episode 6, where I think it's called The Prisoner. Is it The Prisoner, that one? Where Mando has to go and meet a bunch of crazy rebels, rebellious people to go break into a prison ship to get somebody else out. And Bill Burr is one of the characters that he works with in that episode. And during that episode, Bill Burr lets them know that he used to work for the Empire and he was an Imperial. So he's got all this insider knowledge. So they're going to spring him out of prison to get the codes. To get some codes. He's got codes. So he can get the codes.
They're multiplying. What do we think about his part in this? Well, I suppose we're going to get onto that in a minute, but it'd be nice to discuss about his part. Okay, generally, yeah. What do we think of the way Bill Burr's playing this character? What do we think?
I liked it, man. I really liked it. Especially liked it when he's putting that stormtrooper outfit on. He's sitting on the side of the thing and he's going, God, this guy stinks. Yeah. Like, his gloves are still wet. I thought it was pretty cool, man. Yeah. I thought, because he's a comedian and not primarily known as an actor, I thought he was really natural.
Do we think that they purposely wrote funny lines for him? Because
I think he's got all that shows up and he's funny.
I think they wrote it. The good thing about it, though, it's not really cheesy, because some jokes sometimes in the Star Wars stuff, you do think, oh, come on. Like, I'm thinking of episode 8 with the mama jokes at the start of the film.
Oh, yeah, when he's putting them on hold. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. They have a habit of being quite unfunny. I mean, my favourite joke, I don't even know if it's supposed to be a joke, is in The Last Jedi again, where Luke Skywalker squeezes the booby of the sea cow and he gets the milk and he like looks at the camera and he's
winks.
He's like, what am I doing here? I waited 30 years for this shit. It's brilliant. And he just gives the camera this look like, yeah, you fucking saw this. It's really happening. It's great. But yeah, Bill Burr,
well, go on.
I think he fits really well. I think he's
I like him. I like Bill Burr's stand-up as well, I've got to say. So
yeah.
They rescue him from the prison planet, and then what happens?
Well, it's mission time, isn't it? Go on a mission again.
And for the first time ever, we get to see the inside of Boba Fett's ship.
Oh yeah, and it all turns round and stuff, doesn't it?
Slave One.
Yeah,
it was nice to see Slave One. Although it did, I was saying in our chat earlier on, it's for the first time, it's just occurred to me how much Slave One. And don't get me wrong, I know it's going to offend some people out there. I love Slave One. It's an amazing ship. It looks brilliant. Look what it can do, but it does look a bit like a travel iron. Yeah,
it does.
Excuse me. Yeah,
I think George Lucas looked around in it for inspiration around his house and went, "I love that. Love this."
It's that trouser press spaceship that comes in the next episode.
We've got a comment here. I don't know. We didn't mention this about games actually. Cyberpunk 2077 best settings for PC.
Well, we will. We can talk about that in any of the news about Cyberpunk 2077. I actually haven't played it, but I've watched a lot of reviews and videos about it. It's supposed to be just
amazing.
Revolutionizing RPG games. Is it something that you guys will be getting, or will you wait until sort of the next generation consoles have sorted themselves out and maybe get it?
I play a lot of PC, so I'll probably wait a bit. I've got so many games to play at the moment as well. It's like, I'm going to wait a bit, but it looks amazing. It does. It does
look fantastic. I saw a couple of comparison shots between the PS4 version and PS5 version, and It was the
He wants
first
the
thing
best.
I've seen that's made me want to get a PS5 at some point, but I have to say I'm not in the market to get one anytime soon.
No.
Simon, though, we need to tell him best settings. Have you got recommendations? Turn your
settings.
modem off when you're playing it.
Yeah. Put your volume up a bit so you can hear it. Yeah.
Put your headphones on.
Put some mood lighting down in your room just to get the glare off the screen.
Yeah.
And
make
unplug
yourself a
all
nice
of the
cup
devices.
of tea so you don't have to keep getting up.
A nice cup of tea, yeah.
Go for a wee before you start playing.
Do you guys eat biscuits while you're playing games, or do you just leave it?
I eat whole nut dairy milk.
I try not.
We haven't all got money.
I try
I live
not.
in out there in London, don't I?
Yeah.
I find that when I'm playing a game or something, I'm not actually conscious of what I'm eating, so I can easily devour like a large Galaxy bar or something like that with no trouble at all. And then I look down, I'm like, shit, where's my chocolate? Oh, you've eaten it all.
Having
What
gamed
do you
with
like to eat, Simon? Let us know, Simon, what you like to eat.
I can tell you, Simon, that from what Nathan's just said, having gamed with him pretty much every night for the last 9 months, Maltesers is his predominant snack of choice.
I do
crunching in your ear all the time, just crunch, crunch.
Yeah, I do that even when I'm not eating Maltesers.
So we see the inside of Slave 1 in episode 7 of
the inside of Slave 1, it all turns around like a gyroscope. It's brilliant. Brilliant, that bit. I thought, wow.
It'd be getting funny if when it was turning around, they were all just going like,
whoa! I got strong Guardians of the Galaxy kind of sort of themes within this. Just seeing all this sort of this band of very, very different kind of heroes, anti-heroes, going off to do this mission. It had sort of a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe about it for me.
There was sort of hinting, weren't there, that Mayfield was going to get together with Cara June because of the way they sort of speak. They don't like each other. They don't get on very well. But by the end of the show, he earns a respect by nailing that amazing sniper shot. Yeah, and you know, we're skipping ahead a little bit, but you know, then she's like, "Ooh, actually, yeah, I could shag that guy. He can shoot stuff." I'm thinking, what? It's a bit weird. I found it a bit weird, but yeah,
I was amazed to put that line in as well. What you just said, I just wasn't expecting that.
What the shag that guy?
Yeah, shag that guy. I'm like, whoa, edgy, subverting our expectations there with that.
But this is it. This is what we're saying.
Yeah. So where is it that they go to? They
go to here. They go to Green Planet
Island.
I didn't get the. Go to Ireland.
Got Morag in it.
All right. Morag? I don't know.
I think it was Morag.
I thought that was the name of Morag. What's Morag? There's a character called Morag in something.
Isn't it a witch or something like that?
I think that is that in Willow. Back to Willow with that vast knowledge I have. I think she's called Morag in Willow.
How weird! It all goes full circle. Oh.
As I said in our disclaimer at the start of the episode, we have varying degrees of knowledge about.
Yeah, we didn't claim this was an expert show because God, who wants to be an expert at this sort of thing?
Say that, Webber. You're doing pretty well with all the facts and figures tonight.
I didn't want to correct you that it's Slave 2, not Slave 1, but
is it Slave 2?
Yeah, it is. Slave 1 is Django Fett's ship, isn't it?
No,
right? What am I talking about?
Same ship, different pilot.
Slave 1 is Boba.
The same ships.
The same ship.
And the reason you know it's the same ship, again, there's something happens right at the end, and you know that's why it's the same ship, because something happens.
No, I knew it was Boba Fett's ship, but I understood that Django Fett had a different ship to Boba Fett, and Boba Fett created his whole image in the image of his dad, including the ship.
No, because you know that seismic sort of mind bomb that he drops at the end, which was fucking cool, and that sound effect is amazing. Oh, yeah, it's a throwback to when Django Fett did exactly the same thing in the.
You jumped ahead, but I've got a picture of that.
We are. It's first show, guys. You know, it's gonna be
nice picture there. I grabbed that. It's good.
Yeah,
they have to go to the planet. They have to do another. Let's sneak into a building and do something sneaky. And sneak around a bit. Now, this is where I wasn't going to be all right. Let's point out all the shit things about it, because so far for me, Mandalorian has been on a roll, and there aren't many. There really aren't many to pick from. But in this one,
this episode,
you are wanted by the Imperials, and you used to be an Imperial. why the fuck are you taking your helmet off and just walking in there? Nobody else, apart from officers in that whole building, has got their helmet off.
I'll tell you why. It's
He's a
because
wanted man.
those helmets have such. I mean, we need to talk about this because those helmets have such a short field of vision. I mean, it's like 20 degrees. That's it. You can't see.
But that doesn't mean take it off, because you're more likely to be spotted if you're the only person in the building without his helmet on and you're the only criminal. I just didn't get that bit, and it was a bit weird.
It was a bit weird when he got out of the. I kind of thought it doesn't matter in the transport, does it? But when he got out, I was like,
put it back on, dickhead.
Yeah, you put that back on.
I'm gonna spot you.
Did anyone else? I know it's probably just me because it was very late when I watched this last night. When he's talking to Mando, and Mando's just sat in the armor still. Did anyone else think that armor's empty? And he just thinks he's going in. He thinks he's being watched by one of us guys.
Well, who knows? I heard a little rumor that Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, allegedly walked off set in the middle of filming this. And the way I read the story, and then I translated it into what I think happened. And he went on the set and he said, "Hey, I think I should take my helmet off more this series." And they were like, "No. Don't be daft. We've got a plan already. Like, we're not just going to take your helmet off willy-nilly." It's like, no, I must insist. And like, look, all right, I didn't want to have to tell you this, but around about episode 7, you're going to get a chance to take your helmet off. But that's not what this show is. It's not Mr. Take His Helmet Off guy. It's Mando. Yeah. So apparently he spat his dummy out and walked off the set, and they had to film it with some guy in his armor. So when he took his helmet off, I was like, oh, maybe that's not actually true, because it is the same dude. But Lummy, did you hear that as well?
Yeah, there's been loads of people saying about that. But yeah, I was surprised when he took helmet off. I was like, I've got a picture of him taking spoilers, obviously.
Yeah, and then that a beautifully cut mustache to say he's had an helmet on for how many years.
Well, he can shove it up. He can take his thing up to drink soup.
Yeah, lift the crisp of his helmet, get some trimmers up there.
Maybe he had Baby Yoda. Sorry, Grogu, doing it.
That is a name I cannot get on board with still. But anyway, that's another conversation. So,
they were brave in this episode because he wasn't in it.
Well, it's the only episode where there's been no baby. I'm going to say Baby Yoda because I'm finding Grogu.
But that's to make us all pine for him even more next week when we get the finale and they've got to go rescue him. So that's we'll talk about the episode.
Let's come back a little bit. So that's
why they need Bill Burr's character, because Bill Burr can get them access to the Imperial coordinates of the vessel that has got Grogu on it. So just to round it out, that's not too spoilery, I don't think.
No, that's totally fine.
And I think that it's clearly setting up for a big... I wouldn't be surprised if next week Mando flies around the galaxy picking up more people that he's met on his way so he can go...
Let's do that. Let's
talk about that later. So basically, so they've got to... Is it Morag, the Green Planet, and they have hatched a plan. They are working out who is going to go in with Mayfield because they don't want him to go in by himself. And they all discuss reasons why they can't get in. And Boba Fett's got quite a funny line in this one, actually. It's where he's like, "Oh no, they'd recognise my face," and I think that was another nod to all the fans of the series. And so Mando decides he's going to go in. Mayfield does say, "Nah, I'm not going in with you. I'll go in by myself." Do you think he's got honourable intentions at that point, or do you think he was going to pull a sly one?
I think he's
going to go in by himself.
Honourable if he goes himself, because he don't like the Empire, does he anymore? He makes that clear later, doesn't he?
It does.
So Mando goes in with him, and they find themselves in the officers' mess where they need to go and access a computer terminal to be able to find.
Just before that, they have a battle, don't they?
Of course they do. Now, this for me, and it's quite topical that you're wearing that hat, Lummy. This for me just felt like something straight out of an Indiana Jones film. I half expected a rhino's tusk to come out of the roof of the car.
But that's the point. This show nods at everything it wants. I mean, episode 2 of this season, they were nodding at aliens. Every 2 minutes, there was aliens popping out of eggs. Big queen aliens. It were great. Even the what's the bit with where Grogu was eating the egg?
Well, one the guy out of Alien in it in one of the episodes.
Had Michael Biehn in it, didn't it?
Yeah, in the Ahsoka episode.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of nods to this and that. I spotted that Indiana Jones great train ride thing as well, and I thought I thought, why not? You know, it looks cool.
Well, season 1 where they had the Jawa Sandcrawler, you're hanging off there. That was like Indiana Jones.
That was exactly like the tank bit, wasn't it, where it gets smooshed.
It's exactly like that. So they decide what they're going to do is in order to, because they're all worried about their faces being seen, they decide that they are going to basically beat up a couple of stormtroopers and steal their outfits. Now, this for me is one of the issues that I do have with Star Wars in general. What the hell is the point in Stormtrooper armor? She gets in, she drops down, and she gets both of them. They're wearing helmets, and she smashes their head on the steering wheels, and they're both knocked unconscious. What is the point in those? What is the point in the helmets? It's like the worst armor in the world. In the
previous episode as well, where Boba Fett were knocking the hell out of a bunch of stormtroopers with his stick, and their bits were just smashed to pieces. You're right. Yeah. It's not only that. They can't move in
players, isn't it?
They can't move in the outfits, and they can't see in the helmets.
It's the worst designed armor ever.
It's like that is a really, really good. Considering the empire of the people who like handed out those uniforms, maybe it's just an evil thing. Like, you know, it's gonna make your life difficult because I'm the emperor. I mean, I could give you like full panoramic vision if I wanted, but fuck that. Here you go.
Yeah,
tiny space, and that's why they can't shoot straight.
Give them the terrible armor.
Yeah. Look at my space magic.
Are you sure, my master? We could give them the better stuff. No, save it. We're saving money for Star Destroyers.
Oh my God, you really are evil.
Yes. The costuming is going exactly as I planned.
Penny pinching it.
How much is this Death Star costing? Jesus.
Do we really need that entire floor that's just full of jacuzzis on Death Star? No, we need that. We definitely need that.
Yeah. Can't we just fire the trash into space instead of having the trash compactor?
No.
No, because it's an integral plot line.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question about this. It's a bit unrelated, but since we're talking about stormtroopers and like what goes on with them, do space guns, blasters? This is going to sound like somebody who knows nothing about Star Wars, but just the blasters, do they have
space guns?
Do they have bullets? Do they run out of bullets?
So tonight you actually saw that, and I think for the first time in a Star Wars story where a blaster ran out of ammo, and again it was very much it was very much out of Indiana Jones. He stood there and he's shooting away, and he's like, okay, I'm going to punch him in the face instead.
Yeah, I think it might be like a charge pack. You get so many,
like a battery. Yeah.
That might be inconvenient in the middle of a battle. Oh bollocks! Hang on, give me. I'm just going to charge. Plug it in. Anybody got a charger?
USB.
Oh, it's a Samsung. Damn it!
No, it's a mini USB.
Different fitting.
Emperor.
Well, that's. I mean, throwing back to an old film that made no sense. Independence Day, where they plug into the alien ship with the laptop.
Oh yeah.
Creates all them kind of problems.
I use a Mac and I can't even transfer. If you sent me a Word document from PC, it takes me 15 minutes to transfer. It doesn't make any sense. It's just ridiculous.
Just notice that we're at 55 minutes nearly. So basically, they hijack a mining vehicle that's transporting really volatile kind of explosives. What's it called again? Is it Iridium? That's it. Which again, I think it's from the Clone Wars again.
Iridium.
I think they have used it before in previous Star Wars storylines, and it's really, really volatile. It's like a reverse episode of Speed.
Everything in Star Wars, this is my argument. Everything in Star Wars.
We got a comment about the lasers here. Nice thing about armor for lasers is quite light. Yeah.
I like the fact that Dan, you've changed you've put your full name and you've put a little image up there as well.
Because he swapped. He were on Twitch before. He was on YouTube.
Look at you.
Swapped across.
Down with the kids.
So, I mean, I don't want to literally tell everybody everything that happens in Mando episode, whatever it was, 7, 15, 7, something like that.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that for me, every episode this season has been absolutely brilliant. Number 2 is a little bit slow, but still good. For me, this episode was there was something imperfect about it compared to everything else they've done so far. I'm not sure what it is that was bugging me really about it, other than it just didn't, I don't know, didn't sit right with me as much as the others did. But I think again, it's like, oh, let's go into the place and do the thing. And like, you know, there's a lot of that going on in this series. But I
don't think it was a filler. I think it was more of a setting up for the final episode. It's more of a
so that's what I was going to say. Moving on from this episode, which
whoa. We've got to finish off talking about this one before we talk about the next one.
What else have we got to talk about?
We've got to finish.
We're not even halfway through it. So they get a load of space pirates come and try to blow up the and he has this fight on the back of it, which is another nice thing because it's the first time he's fought without his own armor. So you see him getting hurt by actually what would normally be quite a minor blow for him. So
I mean, it might have been a better scene if he'd have stood on top of the tanker, right, and gone to press his button to fire all them little explosive darts out and kill everybody, and he taps the button on his arm and his armor just falls off. His armor. No shit, that's the release button. Yeah.
It's not Carry On Mandalorian.
Oh,
I didn't expect that to happen.
Oh, blimey, I can't believe that. He's naked.
Gotta say, guys, rest in peace, Barbara Windsor.
Now, it's one of those things because, like, I work in theatre and TV, and it's one of those things where I was going to put on Twitter today going, rest in peace, Barbara Windsor, on the day where everybody competes to pretend that they knew you the best, because every single message on social media was like, oh, I remember working with Barbara. I remember I met Barbara Windsor. I remember, and it's everyone knew Barbara Windsor. But that said, I did hear a story that she would never get a car, like a sort of chauffeur-driven car home from filming or things like that. She'd often just want to get public transport and talk to people, everyone. And fair play to her. She sounds like she was a really lovely, charitable person.
Really lovely woman.
Lovely. I watched Carry On Camping last night.
In honour.
Again, in honour.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a little interview with her and Kenneth Williams, where they were just chatting. It was a bit like, it was a mid-80s, a bit like Wogan or something. They're sitting on chairs talking about filming, and they were doing, what's the first one she did, Lummy? The first Carry On
Spying, I think.
Yeah, that's the one. And he said that she had this line and she said, I don't want to do it Cockney. I'm trying to shake the Cockney thing. I'm trying to shake it. And she was looking through, that's it. It's the glory hole with the eye looking through at her. And she notices he's there. And she's like, oh, you filthy bastard. And she squeezes the toothpaste into the hole. And she said the first take, she got it wrong and she did it in Cockney. She was like, oh, bollocks, I'm trying to be a bit posher. And the director was like, right, got it. She was like, and he got it in one take, and so she just stuck with the Cockney thing.
She went, oh, fucking hell, they got that as well. Brilliant, fantastic. The pilots are trying to blow up all of these tanks, and they start seeing all these explosions in the distance. And
what I like about the pirates, right, is the fact that they sent one little ship. There's a little ship with like 6 pirates on. 3 pirates jump off, have a fight with Mando. He blows that ship thing up, the skiff, shall we call it?
Yeah.
But there's another skiff. It's like a revolving door of skiffs. So he blows 2 up, another 3. You're like, what? Why didn't you all just attack him at once, you bellends? You probably would have won. Like, no, we'll wait back. We'll hang back until you're totally blown up, and then we'll bring the next squad. I just thought that was a bit silly. But
that happens in everything, though. That happens in everything.
I know.
Yeah. And Mando Mayfield are the only people to be able to get their shipment back to the Imperial sort of mining base.
Yeah, that's right. They get back there, and that was good. It was seeing the Imperials like. Excuse me.
And some of the troopers from Rogue One in there as well, the shore troopers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a few stormtroopers knocking about and as they pull into the place, everybody's saluting them and going crazy and going, yeah, you guys did it. So they have to play along with it. It was quite funny.
The other thing is that we probably forgot to mention, which I personally think might be integral to the future episodes, is we also see really hostile-looking indigenous people of the planet who are giving them all dirty looks. And Mayfield says, well, you know, what do you expect? The rebels kind of let them down, allowed human slavery, and then the Imperials came along and took advantage of that situation. So, you know, that it's kind of poignant as well for what happens later on in this episode, because we see Mayfield and Mando split off away from the sort of celebrations, and they see this terminal in like an officer's mess hall, and they have to.
Here we go.
That's right.
Oh,
and is it
the officer as well that he was talking to? That was a really great scene, because for a little while he's sort of hanging back, isn't he? While this guy blathers on about being evil and how people deserve it, and then he loses his shit with him and shoots him, which is again a callback to New Hope, wasn't it? With Greedo and Han Solo, just shoots him, like, pretty cool. Yeah. But the guy who's playing the officer is a really good bad guy that you might not recognize. He's the guy who played Joe Chill in Batman.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he plays a good bad guy. He's in a couple of other things as well. I can't remember exactly what he's in, but it was really cool because he had a kind of a Western approach. Usually all the bad guys are British, aren't they? They're like, oh, yes, you are going to die now. but this guy was like all Western. He was like, yeah, I can't do the accent. I don't know what that was. Sound like Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's not in this one. Spoiler alert.
He is in the next one, though. So yeah, and all of the officers, all the Imperial officers, they all seem to have like real ratty sort of faces. And this guy, it looked like, you know, a rat in human form. It was brilliant casting.
It would look like it did look like the kind of face you've got where you're never going to get the leading man role. It's always going to be like, yeah, but I want you to play the bad guy. It's like, yeah, but I've been practicing really hard at being, doing my hero line and stuff.
I've been practicing.
I played Romeo in Stratford.
So they get to the Imperial place. They go use the computer. Mayfield bottles it.
Yeah.
Mayfield bottles it because he sees the officer. He thinks, I'm going to get recognized here. This is a bad idea. And they're like, oh, what are we going to do now? So Mando, for the second time in the episode, takes his helmet off again, goes completely naked face, just like that. Naked face. And he goes and uses the computer himself. He tries it with his helmet on. It can't see him. So he takes his helmet off. And lo and behold, inexplicably, this Imperial face detecting machine says he's all right, even though it's got no record of him. Nobody's ever seen his face. But he's like, yeah, you're all right. Take whatever information you want. You want some Death Star plans? They're on page 2. We've got the location of Baby Yoda here. If you want anything else you want to know.
Collect your dodgy armor from Bay 3.
Did he have some links? Did he have some ties to the Empire previously, though, or not? I can't remember.
Mando. So that's what I was going to ask. What does that mean? Because obviously it's something that's significant to the storyline. They're not just going to put it in there because it's just an unanswered question.
I thought it was like some kind of cafeteria at first. That was like the espresso machine at end, and they were just one of them. Now we'll go to archive room, but it was just there, wasn't it, in the middle of. But it is in the dining room.
Like, take your helmet off every time you wanted a cappuccino, though.
Yeah. And if that was the code to speak to the main guy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you think, why is that in the canteen? Why is it there?
I have no idea. So he uses the machine, but while he's using it, Officer Fuckface, whatever it's called,
he is listed as Officer. That is his name, Officer Fuckface.
On IMDb.
Hey, what are you doing? He goes, hey, you over there. And Mando, because he doesn't speak Empire, he doesn't know how to talk to these officers. He just stands there like a wet lettuce. And then Mayfield comes over. He says, oh, he's a bit deaf. He's had some pressurization. He's deaf. And you're like, all right. And then this was what killed me, was the line from, did you get this? From Office Space, where he goes, oh, come on, let's go file them TPS reports. I was like, TPS reports? I know what that's from. What's it from? I had a little Google. It's from Office Space. If you remember Office Space, the thing about the guy who's totally sick of working in an office, he gets hypnotized, and then he just don't give a shit about his job anymore, and it's just total relief for him, and he starts living his life. But in the film, he's got this boss, and the boss keeps coming over and says, "You didn't file your TPS reports." So they've taken stuff from all over the place. It really is just picking from wherever they want, which I quite like. It's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and he also calls him Brown Eyes. As
yeah,
well.
yeah. So we
Brown Eyes.
we just call him Brown Eyes. Weird.
So
that's not the first name. The first name that would come to my mind, be like, John, yeah, it's John. It's called John. This guy, but he's like, I can't think of names. Brown Eyes. Brown Eyes.
Oberyn Martell. I mean, so the officer forces them to go and have a drink with him, and it's this quite tense situation where they're sat around the table, and then the officer starts talking about what operation was it? It was. He starts talking about the Imperial operation. I can't remember what it was called.
Operation Cinder, and I think that's from the Battlefront 2 game. The single player.
It is from Battlefront 2. Yeah,
and it just so happens that your man Mayfield was in battle. It was in that battle, and he saw all his mates die, and he knows that this officer is the guy who fucking set these people up and didn't help them. 5,000 to 10,000 people died. He watched all his mates die. So as he's talking to him over the table, you can see the resentment building up, and you're thinking, I hope he shoots this guy, and then he does.
Yeah, actually, Operation Cinder wasn't it where they blasted a load of planets and forced all the weather to change on a load of planets and to destroy a load of places. And on one of the planets were a load of Imperial troops, and they just didn't give a shit, and they just blew up all the right people. And Mayfield was in one of those troops to die and things like that.
So the upshot of that is they have the big conversation. He finally gets his revenge against the guy who killed all his mates, but he just shot an officer in the middle of the fucking Imperial kitchen. That's all. And there are literally thousands of stormtroopers and officers all over. So he's like, boom, boom, shoots them all. Luckily, they keep running into the room with no guns and just get shot one at a time. It's a good job. They kicked the window out and jumped out behind them. Otherwise, they'd have just been a pile of dead bodies.
No, there was a bit in this that it was one of those little bits that kind of bugged me. So can you bring that picture up again, Chris? Is that right? So it was through these sort of slats, it's like the world's biggest blinds. And there's somebody in a few frames on one of the troopers has got his arm underneath one of the blinds and he's trying to blast them, but they're really high up. You just grab them by the ankle, wouldn't you? And just trip them up or something like that.
You know what? I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was still cool and it's very Star Warsy. I just thought I wouldn't have jumped out the window. I'd have just kept shooting them as they were running in one by one.
It seems to be working.
As we know,
the entire empire one by one.
As we know, your lasers are going to run out, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Once bitten.
So yeah, they jump out the window. Big escape. Boba Fett flies in. They jump on the ship.
The ladies are there sniping people to help them escape.
I do like that
another
shot.
bit. Just going back a little bit. Sorry, just to jump backwards. When they got to the Imperial place with the Iridium, 2 TIE fighters flew out of nowhere and you're cheering for the TIE fighters. You're like, yes! 2 TIE fighters fly down and help them out in battle, and that's how they get inside.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, man. That's what I found interesting about this one, is it made you see the human side of the Empire for a change. So when they're getting in and everybody's celebrating, you're like, oh, they're just people. They're just people.
I mean, that is one of the things about this episode, although it is not a filler, but just more like a setting up episode. A lot of information does come out. So it does talk a lot about the sort of conundrum between the Empire and the Rebel Alliance in that actually none of them have done a very good job when it comes to everyday people. You know, it's an imperfect sort of situation anyway.
But what the officer is saying as well about how people they think they want freedom, but they want to be controlled.
Yeah,
that's what they really want. So that's why they need the Empire. But then he used the term something about the order. What did he say about it? He said they need order, and you're thinking, oh, first order, and it sort of links into that next band of what the Empire is going to turn itself into and stuff.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's great. Boba Fett swoops in at the end. There's a bit of TIE fighter action. He saves them too. Meanwhile, the 2 ladies are sniping these stormtroopers on the top of the building to help them get away. They jump on board Slave 1, 2, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling
Slave 1. It's Slave 1. It's Slave 1 because we can talk about that now, because that exact weapon is the one that Jango Fett used in his ship in Slave 1. So it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I know that, but that doesn't dispel the logic that I thought I was working under, because if you'd have recreated your father's ship it would have the same stuff on it. So do you know what I mean? I'm just a bit confused about it. Doesn't
Isn't
matter.
isn't it not his father's ship?
I think it is. That's what you guys were saying. Yeah, I didn't think that. I thought he just rebuilt himself in Jango Fett's image.
So what do we think then? So Mando, and I know other people. It's what I thought, but I know other commentators have actually made this comparison where Mando slaps down what I can only call a wrestling promo. Tell her, I'm going to get you. That baby Yoda means so much to me.
Yeah, that straight callback to the end of season 1 where Moff Gideon gives him the exact same speech.
Yeah.
And as I was watching it, I'm thinking he's just using his words against him. So I quite liked that because it really pissed Moff Gideon off, didn't it?
Yeah.
It got to him. And
it also told him that they were coming for him.
Yeah, it did. And also, look how far we've come. So you might think we're no threat to you at all because you're surrounded by stormtroopers on a massive ship, but we can get to you. And I think, the arrogance of the Empire to stand there and say, nah, you're not going to catch me.
Just before that, obviously, you had this bit, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Waving everybody off. So, yeah, they decide to let Mayfield go. She was supposed to take him back into custody after, but because he did that amazing sniper shot right at the end on Boba Fett's ship, he goes to Mando, pass me that gun, and he passes him the gun, and he shoots a thing of Ridium, and it blows the entire thing up. He gets his vengeance on the Empire. He does a massive favor for the good guys and redeems himself. So I thought that was fair enough.
And then they let him wander off with no weapon or any food or water into the jungle. I expected this thing then to fly off, and then the camera to come back to him. He turns around and this monster just eats him. And
I honestly thought that he was just going to jump on the ship with him and be part of the crew that goes to take down Moff Gideon next week, which makes sense because he's pretty good at what he does. It's all about his arc of redeeming himself.
Yeah,
it made sense. I didn't get that.
I was wondering actually whether he is going to be like a leader for the people of that planet, and he's going to do some good for the planet, for those people.
He's probably got
give him a show. Give him another show. Give him a show. Let's have it. Mayfield.
Yeah.
Star Wars Mayfield.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
Okay, so, everybody gets a show. It's like Oprah. Everybody gets a show.
I think we should put a pin in Mando for now. So we've got other stuff to talk about, and we've still got.
Well, first of all, though, can we predict what we think is going to happen next week?
Yes. So
we can.
Gentlemen, how do you think the last episode in season 2 is going to finish? Do we think they are going to get Grogu back?
I'm not sure about all that, but what I feel is definitely going to happen, in my eyes, I might be wrong, but that's what it's all about, is that Mando will inherit Slave 2 when Boba Fett gets killed by the Dark Saber.
Slave 1.
Oh, fuck off. Slave 1.
When did they rename it? It's always been Slave 1. I have no idea
where I've got Slave 2 from. I don't know.
I like the fact that you corrected me on it as well. He was like, actually, I didn't want to tell you, but it's Slave 2.
I'm sure it was, but I'm not honestly. I'm waiting for somebody to comment, but there's only 3 fucking people watching, so
there's quite a few people watching.
Okay, so I think that
you're not alone, viewers. You're not alone, viewers. You're not alone.
Right, correct me if I'm wrong, Lummy. One of the things that they said was going to be a possible spin-off, which hasn't been announced, was Boba Fett.
Yes.
Boba Fett is going to die. He's going to end up giving Slave 1 to Mando. It's going to be Mando's ship. And I reckon somebody's going to get killed with the Darksaber because you've got to see that thing in action. Why is it so good? What's it all about? So that's what I don't know. That's what I thought. And I also think that at some point Luke is coming back.
That sounds like a real waste of clean.
Yeah, right.
Armor.
They wouldn't have spent all this time bringing Boba Fett back.
Of course they would.
Kill him. No, they won't.
Dude. Did you not see Force Awakens?
Yeah, they're not going to do it.
Your favourite fucking character, dude.
No, but he wanted to die. They're not going to bring a character back.
Oh, yeah. They're going to. All right, so that's what happened, right? So I write a script. You go, you're not going to kill me off in it, are you?
No, I'm on about the character. I'm not on about actors or anything. I'm on about the character. They've took all this care to bring Boba Fett back, or Boba Fett, however you say it, Boba. Some people call him Boba. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
they're not gonna bring him back into this series just to go. By the way, we're gonna kill him at the end.
Well,
Guarantee
we'll see
it.
next week, won't we?
So what do you think is going to? So Chris, what do you think
Right.
is going to happen next week?
Right, I think they're going to bring. There's been all these rumors about this Sebastian Stan, is it?
Yeah.
Playing Luke Skywalker. There's been these rumors about it. I think they're going to pull a Force Awakens, and they're going to have Luke Skywalker at the end of the next episode. At the end of it, and he's either going to say one word or nothing. He's just going to come in because Baby Yoda or Grogu, whatever you want to call it, he sent his signal out, didn't he? And we didn't see the results of that. They've got to tie that up, and they'll have to do a cliffhanger.
Yeah, fully agree.
They've got to do it. They've got to do a cliffhanger at the end of the next thing to get you ready for season 3. That's just from a filmmaking thing, isn't it?
Now, the only reason I think that might not be a thing is because I don't know if they're ready for that yet. But I'm hearing so much about it that I think it's possibly true.
Oh, they've done it. I mean, look at Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka.
Yeah,
you know, there were loads of rumors going around, and then she's in the
all
episode.
of a sudden it happened. Yeah,
you know,
so I think there's a lot of weight to these rumors. There is a lot of weight, especially when it's from Star Wars fans that do the research and are doing all these deep hacking things and stuff.
I mean, it'd be better if it wasn't all out there already, but that's what the times we're living in. It where all this stuff.
Part of my prediction was you did hear me say, didn't you, that I think Luke is coming back at some point because we were talking about it a while ago, Lumb, and we were saying who could it be. And the only Jedis really left at this point in the canon, there aren't many. So it's either because somebody you don't give a shit about, or Luke, or they're going to bring somebody back from the dead and throw that at you, like Mace Windu is going to pop up.
They were on about Mace Windu as well, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
although, having said that, Samuel Jackson is doing
Sam Jackson. Yeah,
he's doing Marvel TV shows as well. Sam Jackson is signed on.
Yeah.
They might have got a deal. They might have got a deal with him.
I
think it's because they've realised that they don't have to drop people's wages to put them in a TV show. So all these actors are like that. Yeah, bring it on. You know what I mean? But yeah, what's your predictions, Gittins?
Well, I should just correct myself because I'm aware that I just referred to Baby Yoda as Grogon a few moments ago, but I just can't. Grogu, it's just such a weird name.
Yeah, but you're talking about a world of stupid names, so to say Yoda's more plausible than Yoda, you've heard of Yoda for nearly 40 years.
Totally. I just think Grogon sounds like quite a cliched creature name. Anyway, I don't think they're going to. Grogu.
They should have called him Yoga, like in Spaceballs. That'd have been great.
Yeah, I think Grogu also sounds like
into the Mando. That'd be pretty amazing.
But I don't think they are going to get Grogu back. I think that is going to be the cliffhanger for leading into season 3, which apparently isn't coming until December 2021. Is
about right. To be fair. But they found a way of making this really, really high quality and really, really quickly. The turnaround for this is unbelievable compared to most other things. Like, you've got to remember this. We were just, when did season 1 finish? Was it last Christmas time?
But that's why I was surprised it's not.
It's been less than a year since.
That's why I'm surprised season 3
came out in America before over here, though, didn't it? Before in UK.
I saw it straight away. And what's say how? Because
you went to America.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So basically, that's it for the Mandalorian. What we're going to do next is each week, the three of us are going to bring a topic that we would like to discuss with each other and yourselves. And first up, Nathan has a topic. Nathan, what do you want to bring?
I got a recommendation, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the premise that when we recommend things, we're recommending it to each other to try and get each other to watch it, because I can't be responsible for everybody. For all these viewers watching it. But my recommendation is a favorite book of mine, a series of books that I've read about 20 years ago. They did a movie version in about 2008 with Daniel Craig and Nicole Kidman, which flopped because they didn't do it right, and it was just a bit cheesy. But it's the Dark Materials series. It's called His Dark Materials. It's currently running season 2 on BBC One on a Sunday night. If you haven't seen it, especially if you're a fan of Harry Potter, Star Wars, Sherlock, Game of Thrones, things like that, it's in that kind of pedigree. It is meant to be a little bit less bloody than Game of Thrones, so it's a family show, I think. But basically, it's all about a little girl who lives in an alternative version of Oxford, England, which is in a parallel universe type of thing. It's got some common ground with our Oxford, but it's its own thing. And in her world, part of your soul manifests itself in the form of an animal. So you split your consciousness with a opposite sex version of yourself that is an animal. So before you are a teenager, that animal changes form whenever it wants. So if it's scared, it might turn into a rabbit, or it might turn into something big and scary if it's trying to frighten something, you know.
And they're called
reflects. Yeah, they're called a demon. Yeah, demons with an A and an E, not just an E. And it's a beautifully written book. First of all, so far the series they've done is doing really, really well for me. It's really close to the book. It's done with real care and love. Philip Pullman, who wrote the books, is a producer on it. The cast is fantastic. So you've got Daphne Keane, who's playing Lyra, who's the main character. She's the girl who played Weapon X in the last Logan movie, which I just found out. Ruth Wilson, who is
phenomenal.
Really
she's phenomenal in it.
She's great in it. She plays Mrs. Coulter. You've got James McAvoy in there as a character called Lord Asriel. Just in case you're watching it, I'm not going to tell you too much about it. But also in the back, other characters, you've got Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote Hamilton and is in Mary Poppins and stuff, the latest Mary Poppins. James Cosmo from Game of Thrones. And a kid called Amir Wilson, who is playing Lyra's counterpart, who doesn't really come into it till the second season, but he's from our world. Yeah, and he ends up in another world where he meets Lyra. They both end up in the same world together. They're trying to figure each other out. They become friends, and that's what moves the story next. But honestly, it's beautifully shot. It's really, really well budgeted. It's plausible. All the CGI looks great. I don't want to say too much because I spoil it, but basically, if you like things like Sherlock, it's one of the best things the BBC have done in like forever. And it's really, really cool. Also, check the books out. The books are even better because when you're reading them, they're in your brain, they're in your own head. But yeah, it's a really sprawling story that starts in one place and you think you kind of know what's happening, but it just shifts, from book to book. It just gets cleverer and cleverer, but really beautifully told.
And you don't need to have watched the books to enjoy the series, because Nathan recommended it to me last year when the first series came out, and it's just brilliant.
You don't have to watch the book.
You don't have to watch the book. No, you don't have to watch the book.
No,
you don't have to read the books. You don't have to read the books.
I believe before the show came out, I bought Gittins a copy of the book because I know he's a massive Harry Potter fan, and I knew that if he picked it up, he would love it. But he hasn't. But in fact, I know he would because he loves the show. So there you go. To me, I'd watch the show and I'd be like, "Well, I've got to read the book now and find out what really happens." But he hasn't done that, a lazy twat. But anyway, but yeah, it is a testament that somebody like Gittins, who wasn't that bothered about it, gave it a go and really likes it. And that's why I'm recommending it to you, Lummy, because I think you and Terry would really dig it.
Yeah, and it's perfect. It's perfect autumnal viewing, which is when it's on.
Great.
I think she might have watched. I think she might have watched the first episode, but I don't know. I'll check. But yeah,
you got to give it a go. You got to stick with it if you want to see where it's going. It's definitely not one of those shows that if you watch the first episode, you don't know enough about it to discount it yet. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You got to give it a couple of episodes because it's just a brilliant story. I mean, for me, I've always said this: Harry Potter is great. Harry Potter's good at what it does. But for me, this is not a children's story. It starts out as a children's story, but by book 3, it's head-spinningly good. It's got some deep concepts in there about love and sexuality and sexual awakening and puberty and all this weird stuff thrown in there. Death, life, what happens when you're talking about matters of the soul. How coming from our world where our soul is an internal force, and meeting somebody from this other world where their part of their soul is manifested in this other bit. It's a beautiful. So when you've got a demon, Lummy, these little animals that they've got, there's little twists to it. So in their world, it's forbidden to touch somebody else's demon. It's almost like a sexual act.
Hey, it's forbidden in our world. Never mind theirs.
It is, yeah. So it's really beautifully handled. It's really good, really you know, everybody's always wanted. I've got a cat. My cat is like my best mate. You know what I mean? And I've always felt that connection. That's what this is. It's like they're living. So whenever you're lonely, you can turn to your demon. You can have a conversation. They can explain why you've just fucked everything up, or why you're feeling so low, or make you feel better. Give you a cuddle. Turn into something nice and snuggly, and wrap themselves around your neck. Give you a cuddle when you're feeling shit. I think there's a bit.
You can't be too far away from your demon either, can you?
You can't get too far away from. There's certain rules that having a demon, you've got to abide by these certain rules. It's really, really beautifully done, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So
when's his Dark Materials on, Nate?
It's on a Sunday night. There's 2 episodes left of this series, so it's all on iPlayer. I think there's about 8 episodes a season. So yeah, there's a fair amount to get through. It's really worth your while if you've not seen it.
Is it on at 8 or 9 o'clock on a Sunday?
I don't know, because I always miss it because I'm always putting the kids to bed. I watch it on iPlayer later. So yeah, I think it's on about 8 o'clock-ish.
But it's perfect autumnal viewing. Thank you very much, Nate. That's a brilliant recommendation, and Lummy, I recommend it too. It is awesome, and anyone at home. And if any of you see Mandalorian, feel free to comment. If you want to encourage Chris to watch something that he's thus far resisted, just leave a comment and let him know why he should watch it as well. This week, I wanted to bring to the table something, a festive feel, if you will, a big old slice of nostalgia. I wanted to discuss childhood Christmas presents because it is the season to be jolly. So I wanted to ask you, gents, what were, and you people at home as well, what has been your favourite childhood Christmas present, your worst childhood Christmas present, and the Christmas presents that you always wanted as a kid that you never got. So I'm going to start us off this week. And I see, just seen Chris's face drop. Have you got the pictures in a different order, Chris?
No, I've got them.
Oh, perfect. So my favorite ever Christmas present was the Star Wars Ewok Village. I absolutely adored.
Look at that!
It was
beautiful.
Amazing. It was amazing.
We had some low expectations.
The net at the bottom, and those holes were like slides, weren't they? That came out at the bottom, so you could put your Ewoks in, and they'd slide all the way down the bottom. And
do you remember that time you got your willy out and you got it stuck in that little hole? I remember that.
That wasn't just one time; that was several occasions.
It was 32.
I'm glad you speak so highly of me because those holes are massive. But yeah, I absolutely adored the Ewok Village. It was just an incredible Christmas present to get. What was your favourite Christmas present?
Do you want a bit of trivia about the Ewok Village? I've got a little bit of trivia for you. Right. Kenner made all the Star Wars toys. Kenner Productions, you know. All right. The Ewok Village, they used the same sculpt from the Ewok Village to make some toys for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Now it's funny you should say that because when I did a Google for that image, an almost identical toy came up and it had Robin Hood on it. But I think they had treetops,
leaves on it. Leaves on the top. Yeah, cheeky buggers.
So it's different. It's not the same, is it?
Exactly.
Same mold.
How dare you accuse me of plagiarism? I put leaves on this one.
They used to do it all the time. They used to do it all the time with toys.
Yeah, I know. A lot of the He-Man figures were interchangeable, weren't they?
Oh, He-Man,
The episode of The Toys That Made Us on Netflix, where they talk about Star Wars toys, is absolutely brilliant.
I watched all of them.
They're amazing.
They're great. Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah, the WWE figures one is brilliant because I had all of them as a kid.
The My Little Pony one is absolutely amazing.
Brilliant.
They were at war with each other about who created it, and the lady that actually created it got it all stolen. It was a great story. It was proper mafia-like, really dark shit going on.
Yeah. It's like then I decided to put an apple on its ass.
It's like that. It's like the Tiger King with toys, you know. It's just So, Lummy, what was your favourite toy that you got as?
You better ask Nath first, I think.
This was a weird one, yeah.
Okay, Nathan, what's your favourite?
Mine was me and my brother Dan, who's so kindly commented on this tonight. Who we got a joint Christmas present one year, and it was a Millennium Falcon, and we had no idea it would come in. As far as I remember, it didn't come from. It didn't come from my mum and dad. I remember we went somewhere one day to, you know, when you meet family members that you're not sure if they're actually family members or friends. Sure, we went round to this woman's house with my mum, and she gave us a Millennium Falcon, and we were just like, what? Blown away. From what I remember. So that was pretty badass. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I still believe that is like the perfect model of the Millennium Falcon, even though it's clearly not. The fucking Lego one looks better than that. But in my head, when I go back to being a kid, yeah, it was perfect. Perfect what you needed.
I mean, I totally agree. This is why I said go first, because you said this first, Nathan, didn't you? So credit where credit's due. But I 100% agree with you. I pulled another picture of it. There you go.
Oh,
the Jedi one.
But
see, that was probably the one we had, because the 77 one, I wouldn't have been old enough.
That's exactly the same reasons of what you said there. And also, I've got mine right here.
Still got it.
No way. That is the one that I had as well. So
it's a bit worse for wear, but
it's big, isn't it?
Doesn't a quarter of the top lift up so you can see
inside? You can see inside. Play a bit of space chess.
That's right.
Careful, he might rip your arms off if he loses.
Do you know what I did though with mine? When I had it as a kid, very similar story to you though. We got it second hand from somewhere, you know.
You think there was some woman like making them?
Well, what I did,
making them from naughty kids.
all the let me get that one for you. All the insides of mine, I ripped them all out. Right?
Stick his cock in them.
No, I ripped all the back out because I wanted it so they could go all the way into the ship.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Didn't work though, did it?
No, it did. It worked. I got hours of playtime with this that other kids didn't have, and my gunner at the top that pops out so they could do the, you know, where he picks him up off of a Cloud City.
Yeah.
He could do that.
Was there any guns, or were there any guns underneath the toy?
There used to be, I think.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, there were guns on the top. There weren't any on the bottom, I don't think, from what I remember.
Oh, weird.
Oh, right, okay.
But you had your secret panel as well. It's all here. It's all here.
Yeah. Very good.
And the thing that everybody used to lose was the training ball. Do you remember that?
Yes.
He's lost it.
I never had it, mate. It was second hand. I never had it.
Yeah. Well, that was the one we wanted, and I honestly can't think of a Christmas present as a kid that was. I mean, I had some great presents, and if anybody's watching it ever bought me one, I'm like, thank you, but come on, it's the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Once you've had the Falcon.
Okay. Worst.
You never go back.
Worst Christmas present ever. My worst Christmas. I had an auntie. May or may not be watching this, probably not. But she was one of those aunties that when I was like 7, she used to buy me educational toys. So it was like an electricity set, or just things like that.
Like, box and you just open it and fucking electricity.
It's like, you'd have to like put circuits together and learn how to do them in series and parallel and stuff. But I remember at the age of 7 just being like, why is she buying me homework for Christmas? But then, I mean, years later, I loved chemistry sets and things like that. But I remember one year, I got the most random, I think it must be like a petrol station gift set. And I have no idea why anyone would put these 3 things together. But I got a gift set that was made up of a pair of white tennis socks. Never played tennis in my life. A can of Lynx deodorant and a calculator. And it was an old Casio calculator, a little solar power. And it was exactly that calculator. I mean, who the hell would buy an 8-year-old a gift set? Who would make a gift set with those 3 items in it, let alone buy a 7-year-old those 3 things? So we'll go to you this time, Chris. What's the worst Christmas present you've ever had as a kid?
Right. The worst one, actually, is, for me, joke books. Right. You get them, right. We're talking the works.
I know this. I know why. You're a comedian.
1,001 joke books and things
like that.
Why?
Yeah. I know exactly why, Gittins, and you can confirm this. That's because they'll flick through a joke book and they'll go, that's not fucking funny. I could do better than that. Like he does with every comedy movie ever. Why did they do that? It should have been funnier if I'd have done it.
That's wrong. No, what it is you flick through the books and they're all terrible anyway. They're all cheap, crappy books. And also, they've never got the majority of jokes in them that are actually jokes. I should have got you some examples, but I didn't. There's things where it says like a statement, and it's not a joke, and they've done it just to fill the book out.
Yeah,
and people used to get them all the time, but this happens all the time. Never tell anybody you do comedy, ever. Because this happens all the time. People start buying your joke books as
but
presents.
that's what people don't realise. Just because you tell somebody you do comedy, that doesn't mean that you need help to steal other people's fucking jokes. Like creating your your own joke book. That would be a better one. You know how to create a joke.
I think those people are just don't understand that you get enough material just merely by being their friend. So and it kind of works out. It compensates in that way, Chris. It's fine. That's why you're friends with stupid people like me and Nathan.
But that's it's not that bad. It's just one of them things that I've had quite a lot of, where you get it and go, oh, come on, give me a fucking voucher for Steam.
Yeah, absolutely. Ladies and gents, if you got any decent Christmas presents or bad Christmas presents, please feel free to comment and let us know. This is a big shot of Christmas nostalgia. Nathan, what was your
God, I hope Joanna doesn't comment. Fucking hell.
Oh, I know what she's going to put.
I know what she's going to put.
Yeah. Is it the present you got her last year?
Yeah. Oh, God, she was distracted. So, Lummy, right? We needed a load of stuff for the house.
This is amazing.
Hang on. Joanna won't let you buy her anything that's useful. It's got to be like something, a treat, a lady thing. Like, so for me, if I get an electric screwdriver, I'm like, brilliant, man. I'll think of you every time I'm screwing these screws in. Brilliant. You know what I mean? Or an electric shaver or something. That's great. But if you got her something like that, she'd be like, what's this shit?
Yeah.
You know, so last year I took a risk and I filled it. It were a really good present. Everything were individually wrapped, right? But it were things we needed that are broken. Like there were a garlic crusher in there. There were some Tupperware and all the shit that we needed. And I'd written on it. But this is my fatal mistake. I wrote on it in biro and you couldn't see it. It was a present for the house. And it's certainly not the first present to open. But Robin was opening his presents under this. That's my kid, just in case you think I live with like loads of weirdos or some audience of 3. Most of you know me. But anyway, Robin was opening his present. It was a bit distracting. And I didn't notice that was the first thing she picked up because he'd passed her that. There you go, mummy. Present. Open a present. So she was sat there opening it. Like just disappointing present after present. Like, what the fucking garlic crusher? Tupperware, what? And I'm like, oh God, you've ruined Christmas, Robin.
Go to bed.
Okay, Batman.
Sent him to his room. Yeah, I did. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, honestly, the thought were there. It was a brilliant present, but it wasn't for her. It was for the house. It was also. Oh, come on. I can't believe she's still awake. Wow.
Hey, you better get used to that sofa, kid.
What else did you buy last Christmas, Nathan? Because that was not the present I thought you were going to talk about. She was a lucky girl last year, Joe.
Oh, shut up. I'm not even going that. Move on. Anyway, my worst Christmas present.
Joe, feel free to comment. Chris will pick it up.
No. That wasn't fair. She's so fucking non-committal. So, okay, again, I cocked up. I collect Lego. Nobody in this house really does. Well, Robin does now because I made him. But anyway, so we were playing Lego Harry Potter on the PlayStation 4, and I'm like, we don't often play games together. And it was quite nice. Like, we're sitting down and like just doing levels. And I'm like, do you like this? She's like, yeah, I like this. Collecting everything. And I thought to myself, well, I need an extra present. So I got her there's a smaller Harry Potter Lego set. And it was only small. And I said, I got you this because it's something that she never gets to do what we do and just sit and have fun. She's always fucking doing something, never really. So with all good intentions, I thought, this is for you to sit down. We could build it together. I'll build my Lego. You, but I'll be la, 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 la. And she opened it and everything was fine. She didn't say anything about it. But then like 3 weeks later, I'm like, you haven't touched your Lego. Like, yeah, I'll get round to it. So then about a couple of weeks go by and I'm like, it's starting to bug me now because if you're not going to build it, I'm going to have to fucking build it. You can't just leave Lego unbuilt. What are you, a savage? So I built a Christmas present for her.
Right.
I just feel like a miserable piece of shit. Anyway, so thanks. Yeah, great. But yeah, you don't always win, do you? You got it, baby. Whatever you want, sweet cheeks. Don't. I tell you what. Don't change your mind, though. You admitted that Tupperware were a great present. Eventually, you were like, "Yeah, we'd be lost without this Tupperware." Yeah, honestly. But yeah, women. What can you do? That sounded horrible. I don't mean all women.
Sound horrible to going out to YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. Yeah,
And,
well done.
And continuing the theme of disappointment, what was the worst? What was the Christmas present you always wanted but never?
Again,
Hang on, he's
I'm
not-
going to
he's not
jump
done
in
his-
first because
Wait, you've not done your worst yet. You just told us about your Tupperware story.
Oh God, yeah. What was your worst present, Nay?
my worst present, it wasn't actually mine. I tell you what, it was a double whammy because, you know, you said about science kits and chemistry sets and shit. I wasn't that kind of kid either. And one year, my brother got for Christmas, I believe, could have been his birthday. Who gives a shit? But anyway, he got a Paul Daniels magic set with 100
Thanks
tricks
for
in it.
watching, Dan.
Yeah. And what I hated about this present was he was the kind of kid that could do it. So he sat down and learnt the tricks. I'm the kind of kid that would sit down, look at the instructions and just go, ah. So it made me hate myself for not being clever enough to give a shit about learning how to do a magic trick. But, you know, joke's on him. Fuck it. What can I say?
So I laughed.
Yeah.
When
Sorry, go
when you sent that picture through yesterday, I actually wet myself laughing because I bought that for myself one day. I went into town. Yeah, last year. No, I went into town because I live in London now, but these guys both live in and around Leeds, and that's where we all met at college. And I went into town and bought myself the Paul Daniels Magic kit, that exact one from Argos catalogue, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles soundtrack. But then I realized I'd spent all my money and didn't have enough money for bus fare. And I bought the soundtrack at Jumbo Records in Leeds, and I found it in HMV for £2 cheaper. So I took it back to Jumbo Records, went into HMV, and bought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles soundtrack from there. I managed to get home. Yeah,
money well spent.
Boom. I loved it.
Awesome, dude. Cowabunga.
Cowabunga, yeah. I love that magic kit. It was brilliant. Dan, I'm with you. It was awesome. Okay, so the Christmas present you always wanted but never got. Now, I feel go on.
Again, weirdly enough, I picked Lummies. We picked the same one. So we had a conversation about this yesterday. He says, what did you pick? I said, I picked Soundwave.
There you go.
I mean, I had a lot of Transformers
Beautiful.
back in the 80s when they were made out of metal. I mean, we never had Megatron, but I was never really bothered about Megatron because even then it was a really shit robot. The gun was good, but when you change it into the robot, it looked crap. It didn't look like the TV show. We had everything going, Optimus Prime and everything, you know, a load of them, but we never got Soundwave.
I don't know. I don't know if it were hard to get hold of because, like you, I had Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and all these.
Yeah, loads of them.
I just don't think maybe they didn't do that many of them because I always wanted it, could never find it anywhere.
Again, our kid might be able to correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure he had a mate growing up that had it, and we went and played with it at his house because I remember changing the tapes, putting it in. I was like, this is just amazing. Why hasn't everybody got one of these?
So I actually did find Soundwave at I say a friend's house. It wasn't really a friend, but we heard he had Soundwave, so we all went to his house to play. Like when we were like 7, I used to live in Wales, and like it's a little village in Wales. And I remember this kid, him and his mum were really weird. They were just weird, and we all went around and we were playing kind of with Soundwave. And what was the little? Because it wasn't. There was a couple of cassettes that
there were loads. Laserbeak, Rumble.
So I nicked that when I was I nicked that kid's Laserbeak, and I went home, and his mum phoned my mum about an hour later, just absolutely screwing that I'd nicked this. I mean, it was a dick move. I mean, I was 7. I was a dick.
Jealous. 7.
Yeah, I was jealous. I really wanted.
Enjoy your Soundwave with no robot tapes to play with it.
I had to pretend that it was in my pocket from playing, and I forgot it when I left.
Oh dear.
What a dick move. What a dick
move.
move.
But everybody wanted it, you're right.
At least
So
you
you
don't
broke
put your willy
example-
through the tape hole and then have to try and give him it back when it's stuck on you. I don't know what's with the willy toy thing. I just imagine you tried to sleep with most of your toys growing up.
I used to. Did anyone else feel sorry for the toys that they weren't playing with when they were growing up? I used to feel really sorry for toys that I wasn't giving the attention that I felt they deserved.
Occasionally, you got to force yourself to play with that shit because you know what I mean.
It's like, it's like, Centurions, you look sad. I'll play with you for a little while.
But then your Transformers are looking at you going, we know where your heart really lies.
Did you ever do this? Did you ever find your stash of toys before Christmas? So if you were getting video games like a Mega Drive game or a Master System and play them before Christmas. Yeah.
So I did that once. My mum and dad had bought me a Game Boy with a load of wrestling games, and we were on holiday for Christmas. We were on holiday for Christmas.
Fancy.
And they went out
that holiday for Christmas.
And it was honestly, Christmases back home in England way better than abroad. For one, you sat out on a patio on a really hot day eating a hot Christmas meal. And
watching your parents get pissed.
Well, all the dye from the Christmas hats is just running down your face. It's rubbish. But every time my mum and dad went out, I was a kid that used to get left alone at home all the time as a kid. And it was cool.
All right, Macaulay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'd set up all these booby traps, every time my mum and dad went out this Christmas, I would unwrap this Game Boy and I'd play the game. Yeah. And like, there's a couple of times I think I'd heard them so quickly. Oh no, that wasn't them. It was the neighbour. Get out again. I'd be playing with it, and I must have done that about 5 or 6 times. And my mum decided about 3 days before Christmas that she wanted to move the tree to the other side of the room. And she moved the tree and she bent down to pick up my present. And it just basically fell out the wrapping paper because the tape was so not sticky by this point. And they absolutely screwed at me.
I think it's part of being a parent that, like, because I remember my mum must have thought she was some sort of present genius or just thought, they'll never fucking check the most obvious place. And one year I did. It must have been my birthday, I think. And I was snooping around and I found something, but it was something I didn't want. So then you got to live with that shit for the next month or so. Like, oh, God, I know I'm going to get this present. So you got to be careful, kids. That seems like a good idea at the time, but it can backfire in your face when it's not a Millennium Falcon. It's a fucking Manta Force. You're like, that's not even Star Wars brand. What is that shit?
Yeah, I got GoBots. It's like, wow.
I love you.
No, my mum and dad used to get me a surprise present each year. And normally it was like a pretty good present. Like one year I got a red BMX and I was just like, this is insane. And the next year, I don't know, it must have been about 14, 15. And my mum, she just kept going da 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 for about
what, striptease?
Yeah. So she's taking her clothes off, looking at me really weird.
You're like, what?
Yeah, maintaining a weird eye contact with me, and then she started like it would morph into "It's only a game, so put up a real big fight." And I was like, maybe a snooker table or a snooker. I don't know.
Tickets for Jim Davidson.
For those who aren't in England or are too young to know about it, that tune is from a snooker game show called Big Break, hosted by the massive racist Jim Davidson.
As many balls as you can.
So basically,
Virgo. That's a good John Virgo.
What was it? Thank you. I didn't know if you guess it because I didn't say his name after it.
So I didn't.
Before it.
John Virgo.
There you go.
Put as many balls as you can.
One was good when you said his name. The other one was better when you didn't say his name.
I'm thinking about it too much. I can't put up with the pressure.
So it got to Christmas Day, and I opened the present. And oh God, Mum, I hope you're not watching. But if my sister's watching, she'll be laughing at this.
Nobody's watching.
I opened it up, and it was the most disgusting multicolored waistcoat. And I'm like, I'm 14 years old. Why have you bought me this multicolored waistcoat? This isn't a good. It's not BMX.
I assume the bow tie's in another pack. Where's
we got a message here for you, Nath. Transformers.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I remember them. They were great, man. They were great.
Kind of bots.
How does he change his picture so fast? Change his picture really fast.
He's back on Twitch, so he's uploaded a picture to Twitch now.
Looking
I'm on
sharp.
it. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm on it.
Dan, you are looking sharp in that picture. But my present that I
In a
always
room.
I never got was a telescope. I know that kind of flies in the face of what I was saying earlier on about getting educational presents, but there's something different about a telescope because it's something that really
Don't worry,
captures
viewers.
imagination.
It's been many years since he didn't get the telescope, and you'll be relieved to know with the aid of a couple of angled mirrors, he's been able to finally get a view of Uranus.
Yeah.
Ah.
Wow.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, I just wanted a telescope. I wanted to look into space and see planets whizzing by and stuff like that. So,
Yeah. But then you
I
realise
have
we don't do that.
I have got.
Take years.
I did pick a different one because mine was the same as Nathan's original. Both our things were the same. That was weird. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
But I did pick a different one eventually. I thought, what else did I want really when when I was a kid? And I've come up with this. Ghostbusters Firehouse.
Yeah. But surely that came out when you were like 13.
I don't know. When did it come out? 18.
I don't know.
I think I had the Ghostbusters Firehouse.
I had the car and I had the 4 guys, but didn't have the firehouse. Didn't have it.
Or
Too
maybe
big. Look at the size of it. It's massive.
No, do you know what? I would have remembered that fireman's pole action for but I don't
I mean,
remember.
look how excited that kid is. That could have been you.
That was me. That was me in my younger when I was the Milky Bar kid as well.
That was him.
Actually,
that was him
kid-
round at his mate's house that got the firehouse.
I
And
was
then
thinking
when he went
that-
home, he's like, "Where's my fucking Spengler? Where's my
That-
Eugene?"
That kid does look like he should be in there. That kid looks like he should be in the Hitler Youth Party.
And you, kid, you look like the kind of guy that steals toys off
Yeah.
kids.
Hey, he is a Hitler youth. You're right.
It
Yeah,
does,
he
doesn't
is,
it?
Has he got a one of them country western string tie on?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's a swastika on his arm.
Guys, I'm gonna have to relocate to another room to plug myself in because I've got 7% batteries.
Well,
Oh.
actually, we are coming on to the last couple of segments. We've got Chris's segment now. So, Chris, what were you bringing to the table this week?
I was going to try and bring you both a trailer. So I've got a new trailer that it kind of came out yesterday. That I don't know if you've seen, but I'm going to play it, and hopefully this will work. First time we've tried playing something, so I'll just play the trailer. It's for a film called Nobody. Action.
Oh yeah.
So should we just watch it and we'll have a quick?
Let's watch it and then we'll chat.
I'll try it. Here we go.
Nathan. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Was that a trailer?
That was the whole film.
I got the whole movie instead. I was just about to say that. How much did they show you in that trailer? It's like
Too much for me. Too much for me.
I mean, that can be a topic for another week because I think that is something that we've talked about.
But in all
quite a lot.
seriousness, give Bob Odenkirk whatever the fuck he wants.
That's what I was
Whatever he
gonna say.
wants,
Yeah,
better than
he's
Cole
amazing.
Stoll. I mean, he can
He's
do
phenomenal.
anything.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
You know. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Looks
that's
good.
good.
And there was a scene. There was a scene where he was sat next to an old guy on a bed. And
Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah,
Oh, was
Christopher
it?
Lloyd's playing his dad in the movie. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't notice that. I didn't see
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought for a moment. I thought for a moment it was Mike from. from Better Call Saul.
Have you seen Better Call Saul? Both of you then?
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
totally,
Absolutely
yeah.
amazing. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
is.
Yeah,
It's one of
everybody watching hasn't seen it.
It's one of the most
Brilliantly done.
beautifully. The cinematography in that series is just insane. It's taken what they did with Breaking Bad, and they have absolutely just taken it to another level. There's one there's one drone shot, and it's kind of like that 1917 thing where it's just seamless.
Yeah.
But it goes through windows and it goes over sort of a bridge and then through a door, and it's always along the side of this van that's kind of going on this big journey. And it's about 4 minutes long, and it's brilliant. It just never breaks.
It's excellent. It's an excellent show. I mean, Breaking Bad was what it was, but this has just got so much more meat on its bones for me. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Got a comment there. Give me the goddamn kitty cat bracelet.
Hey up, Barry, how you doing, love? Nice to hear from you. There was a cat at the end there as well, wasn't there? When he was sat being quizzed by the police. When he said, "I'm nobody," there was it was like a Siamese cat just on the desk next to him.
I'll have to watch it. Yeah, nice. That one good. So
I mean,
go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's probably worth saying that obviously, if you are still watching this, it's our first show and we had a lot to get through, and we're working it out. week by week, we'll decide what works and what doesn't work, make things a little bit short, try and get a little bit, snappier with certain things. Just feeling it out today.
Yeah, a little bit audience only. We got excited and we just ended up talking too much.
Hey, that's fine. But I have got another trailer, but I didn't know. I brought us a classic trailer.
Can I have a Wii while trailer's on? Because I need a Wii.
You go for a Wii, man.
You want? Yeah, I'll start it. It's from a classic, though. One of my favourites, Planes, Trains and Automobiles. The reason I picked it is because there's a load of stuff in this trailer, and it's always intrigued me that was cut from the film.
Yep.
And see if you can.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about that after it. Because
go on, then I'll play it. Then I'll play it. Here we go.
During holiday travel, some people get delirious. Some get delayed. And some get Del Griffin.
American Light and Fixture, Director of Sales, Shower Curtain Ring Division.
Neil Page got all three.
I was on my way home to spend a nice holiday with my family. Instead, I'm in a motel bed with a stranger.
So instead of Thanksgiving with his family, he's spending 3 days with the turkey.
Two happy clams just whistling down the road.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, they're the modern Tony family.
Paramount Pictures presents
Wilma!
Steve Martin.
Ever been to Hawaii?
Yeah.
You see Don Ho while you were there?
See the second show, that's the best one.
Is that right?
Yeah.
John Candy.
Why are you holding my hand? Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows.
In a new film by John Hughes. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
See that Bears game last week? Yeah, hell of a game.
Oh man, Nathan totally went for a poo, didn't he?
Maybe classic Barry.
It is
right,
classic Barry. You're absolutely right. It's a brilliant film. Now, am I right in thinking that they wanted that film to originally be 3 hours long or something?
Apparently, here's the rumor: the original cut was 4 hours long. And as you can see from the trailer, there's loads of stuff in it that's just not in the film.
And it's all funny stuff as well. It's all gold material.
Yeah. I'd love to see it. Honestly, I'd love to get my hands on that. It'll all be, to edit that together, it'd be an absolute dream, wouldn't it, for people who love it,
I got a small confession. I actually only saw Planes, Trains and Automobiles for the first time 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hiya. Sorry, I had to take a trip to Tinkletown.
So that we're saying now that Planes, Trains originally they wanted it to be 4 hours long, and I was just confessing that I only saw it for the first time a year or two ago. It's just one of those films that I just hadn't gotten around to seeing. And
I think for people like me and Lummy that have loved it since it came out, finding out that there's 2 hours worth of footage that's not in the movie is a little bit I'd love to see it. Because I've heard they didn't cut it out because it was bad. I heard the performances were wonderful. They cut it out for time reasons.
Right, yeah, of course.
So that's different, innit? When you take a load of stuff out because it's shit. But yeah, if it's good, I want to see it all. So I found that there's only one of those deleted scenes on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you can see the scene where he gets on the plane with him and he has a big conversation. There's a bit of it in that trailer, but that's the only bit.
When we do the edited version of the show, we'll pop the link to that scene in the comment section so you guys can see it as well. Sorry, Nate.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying, there's lots more footage, but nobody's ever seen it. It's never seen the light of day.
Do we know if any of that footage still exists at all? I mean, is there ever going to be a point where this footage is going to see the light of day? And
I think they'd have done it by now. They'd have released it because even on the Blu-ray, there's only that one scene, the deleted scene on the airplane. That's all that's on it. And you think, hopefully, it might have just gone. It might have deteriorated. Film gets,
Yeah.
I'd love to know what happened to it.
There's loads of clues. There's loads of clues in the film as well. There's a bit where he's got a black eye at the end of the film. And they deleted this fight scene outside the police station and all this stuff. And so there's little clues throughout the film where you think, there were an extended bit there that they've cut, as there is with these stuff.
Does Gittins know the original ending?
No, I don't.
So, spoiler alert, at the end of Planes, Trains and Automobiles, Steve Martin's character finally makes it back home and he's sitting on the train and he can't stop thinking about leaving the guy alone, can he? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, he feels really guilty.
So he ends up taking him home for Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah. But apparently in the original ending, which they cut, John Candy's character just follows him home. And he goes to his front door to open to see what's going on. And John Candy's stood in his driveway. I didn't know what to do, so I just followed you. And that's when him making all that story up about his wife and everything comes out. And yeah, apparently, was that right?
I don't know about that. I don't know whether you've got that from, but there is the original one, with the extended cut. He actually went. It didn't end with him at the door. He went inside and they had the dinner. And do you know when he's on the train going back, and it cuts to all him thinking about his missus round table and all having dinner and all that. Yeah. That was actually the footage of the end. And they cut all that down obviously for timing.
I also heard that reaction that Steve Martin has when he's sitting on the train thinking about his adventures with Del. He didn't know the camera were rolling.
All right.
He didn't know they were filming him. Yeah, and apparently we were practicing his lines, and he were running over his lines in his head, and they just filmed him because he had this really whimsical look on his face, because he's got a really strange look on his face, hasn't he? He's looking out the window and stuff. Yeah, so there you go, a little factoid for you there.
John Candy
made it up, but hey,
John Candy in that film, though. I mean, to play a character so annoying but so beautifully vulnerable all at the same time, and really, man.
I think a lot of people owe John Candy a lot of credit for their careers, because certain people, he's not the only person that can do that. A lot of people have mastered that, hitting you right in the gut, in the feels. But they owe him for it because he's just brilliant at it. Brilliant.
And in most of his films as well, he manages to do that. All his older films as well. There's a film called Armed and Dangerous that I really like, with him and Eugene Levy, and it doesn't really get a lot of airtime anywhere, but I really like it. It's just a buddy kind of cop thing. They're both security guards in it, and it's just a nice, fun film. So there's loads of films.
I remember seeing that in the 80s, but I've never seen it since.
Yeah.
Actually, even in Home Alone, again, he's playing a pretty, the sort of character you wouldn't want to be stuck in the back of a van with. But by the end of it, you're just like, oh man, this guy's got a massive heart. It's just, yeah.
But in that brilliant bit though, where she's going, I can't fucking believe I left my kid at home. What a piece of shit parent. And it's like, it happens to all of us.
Tell that story about
funeral parlor once.
Funeral parlor, yeah.
He was there all day.
It's fine after 5 or 6 months of therapy. It's like,
it's just it's so lovely to reach out to somebody and say everybody messes up as a parent, and it's one of those guys like Robin Williams. You still miss him years later. You miss him from the canon of everything.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, for bringing those two trailers in. Is that going to be a regular feature? Going to be fun?
I think so. Yeah, if one old, one new.
Yeah,
why not?
A lot of fun. Gentlemen, do we have, because we have tipped over the 2-hour mark now, we officially have any other business here for the end? Is there anything else that you want to just bring up or discuss or mention to the audience with regards to anything that you want them to see, or any recommendations?
I'm sure over the course of a few podcasts there'll be loads of stuff coming up. What I want people to know is, just as a disclaimer, none of us have ever said that we're experts at Star Wars or movies or anything. I'm sure I know I got a lot of facts wrong, but it isn't about that. We decided, we've known each other long enough, we've got enough common ground, that when we do talk about stuff, we kind of feel it out, and that's what this is as well. It's just just listening to each other's opinions, just discussing whatever the hell we want to talk about. So we haven't got a plan. There's no logic to it. We're just going to roll with it. I'm sure it'll get smoother and, hopefully funnier.
So this is your show as much as it is ours. So please feel free to jump into the comment section, throw in any suggestions for things that you might want us to discuss in future episodes as well. Chris, is there any other business that you have for the show?
For the show, no, not really. I think, like Nath said, summed it up pretty well there. Just let's see what happens with this format, and we'll remove stuff or add stuff as we go, and just
absolutely. Chris, anything you want to plug?
Just a movie show I do on a Monday night, prequel, sequel, requel. We pick a film and give it
I
a...
love it. Sounds good.
You guys have both been on it, obviously, a couple of
It's
times
a lot
now.
of fun, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, we just got a message here from Dan saying about... Let's have a look.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Yeah,
good shout,
Schitt's
Dan.
Creek, amazing.
If you've never seen it, again, Dan, it's one of those things. Dan recommended it to me ages ago. It took me a while to get round to it, even though I'm really familiar with the people in it and I've seen a lot of their stuff. Catherine O'Hara, Kevin's mom from Home Alone, Eugene Levy, Pie Fucker's dad. You know, don't get much better. Don't get much better. It's really, really well written. It's really sharp. It's really cute as well. It's got this homely feel. It's like a John Candy thing. It's got that John Hughes
fantastic.
element
It's a
to
great
it.
series.
Yeah, it's really
Okay, we'll bring that up
brilliant.
in a future episode. No, next week we are going to be having our Christmas special, and then we're going to be taking a week off over the Christmas period or the festive perineum, and we'll be coming back in January. But we will be back next week, ladies and gentlemen, 8 o'clock next Saturday evening, where we will be discussing episode 8, the final episode of this season of The Mandalorian, and we'll each be bringing our own topics to the table to discuss. But feel free to like and subscribe. We're going to be on channel Lumb for the live stream version of this, and then we will be over on the It's All Greek to Me YouTube channel for the edited version. Please feel free to give us a like and a subscribe. But for me, for Chris, and for Nathan, we'll see thee. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.